Today we're going to be seeing how far I've got with this. I'm Lee and this is International Scale Modeler. Okay, so it's been a while since my last update and you can see that I've made some progress on the Pocher, 1/8 Pocher Lamborghini. Has taken me a while because I haven't had much time, but I'm going to do a new format to the video builds that I do, mainly because I think it's a bit boring. You're just with an overhead camera watching me put screws in or glue pieces together or whatever and then say a couple of odd words all the way through. So what I've started to do with this one is I've taken some photographs as I've gone. I'll voice over the photographs and then we'll cut back and forth and things like that. I think that'll be far more interesting. You can see a little bit more detail as well, and hopefully less boring and much shorter videos as well. I think the video builds at 45 minutes ago probably a little bit long and a little bit time consuming for most people. So I thought I'd make this a bit more of a bite-sized chunk for everyone. Now, at the end of the last one, I'd got the basically the cabin done, all the inside of the cabin done, and the outer shell of the main body here. On this episode, concentrated on the remainder of the chassis, front and rear chassis, the rear engine and all the components therein, and obviously the front part here, which is under the hood, as you can see. Now, what we're going to do is I'll go through the photographs as we're doing. Now, as you can see from the photographs, it was literally just a case of putting it together quite easily, you know, bit by bit. It did build up quite easily. First of all, the engine bay. It didn't warrant any special attention or anything like that. It was quite easy. To be honest with you, I thought once I'd done the cab, I got over the hard part of the whole build itself. But as you can see, the engine goes together quite well. All the pieces fit. A little bit of fiddly and finagling here and there, but apart from that, it wasn't too bad at all. Then we got the rocker cover on the V8 and everything on there. The V12, sorry. That's all gone on nice and easy. So the blocks all together with the transmission and everything, the gearbox and all that sort of got together, and it went together really easily and really well. Nothing really to write home about there. Just the odd screws here, a bit of glue as well. Quite a bit of gluing in this section, I must say. Then it was just putting through the timing belt, the fan belts and all that sort of thing. And then we come to the wiring harness. Now, the wiring harness was an absolute bitch. It really was a pain in the arse to do. We go back to the photographs, and as you can see, it's made of rubber. So the only real glue you can use is either something like epoxy or a CA glue. CA glue on rubber is not great because rubber's flexible. CA glue isn't. So that was a bit of a pain. It also doesn't sit properly on the frame itself. And what we'll do, I'll tell you what we'll do. I can show you how it looks now. Okay, if we go into there, and we'll zoom in a bit for you, you can see how it sits in there on its own. It doesn't look too bad as it is. You think, well, okay, yeah, that sits in there quite right. It's not 100% correct, but it looks okay. So then we went to, so the harness was quite problematic, getting it together, getting it stuck. And you'd have to twist it round against it, how it was naturally laid on the sprue in the box. So that took some finagling as well. In the end, I had to put one piece where it wasn't supposed to go, just because when I looked at the instructions, it looked like it wouldn't be seen anyway. So, but to be honest with you, it'd be much better if that was hard plastic with a matte black finish on it to make it look like rubber. The hosing, while it does look nice, it's okay, and yes, it's kind of effective. The same effect could be achieved with hard plastic, and it would fit no problems at all. So then we went on to the exhaust manifolds. They were a poor fit, very hard to get together with the exhaust box and everything. The exhaust itself, fitting it together onto the engine block was, you have to be, you need to be clever and a genius, or very well cack-handed. Let me put it that way. You have to be good at cack-handedness. So we got that together. Then we did the rear axle. That went on. That was next. And as you can see, it looks slightly bent from the pictures, bent inwards. And I was thinking to myself, well, is that bent? I didn't want to put it all together, then take it apart again and find out it's not bent. In all the reference photos, it's not bent. It looked perfectly straight. So I took a gamble and I thought, no, okay, well, I'll put it in as is, and then, you know, if I have to correct it, then I will, as and when the time comes. So then we went together with the front suspension, everything that went on, the rear suspension that went together. And then we did the front chassis again with the front axle and everything. Again, that went together fine, no problems there at all. And as you can see, then we slotted the engine into the rear chassis with the suspension and everything across, and that all fit quite well actually, no problems there whatsoever, nothing at all. And that was basically the rear engine block together. I did find this screw with no thread whatsoever, which was really handy. It was a nice rivet. But apart from that, really the only bad part on the rear was the harness. I didn't think that was very well thought out. The fact that you had to bend it in the opposite direction to which it was naturally going, and you had to actually twist the rubber itself, which made it pop out. It just wouldn't stick. I mean, it doesn't matter how much glue I put in there and things like that. So I managed to make it look okay by putting it somewhere else, and it's just tucked away out of the way, and it looks perfectly fine. So you wouldn't know anyway. So that was the rear engine block and everything as a unit together, and we had to put the struts on and everything, and that the body struts to stop the body warping at speed and things. And that was basically the whole block done, ready to connect to the main cabin part. Now going to the front, we did the front suspension, and again with the front axle, that was slightly bent as well, so I thought, do you know what, that's probably meant to be like it. Now it is together, the axle is slightly bent on all four corners. It looks a bit odd because obviously axles aren't bent. They have to be straight, so it was a bit of a shame really. But then we went on to the loom. The front loom again was the same problem. It had to be twisted over itself and bent back on itself, which wasn't particularly conducive to the way it wanted to conform to everything. But again, I had to put another hose somewhere else just to keep it in place really. Also, the decals were the wrong size. I don't know if you can see from this photo, but you can see that the decals were actually too large for the part of the body that they went on. I managed to get them to conform quite well. I'm still not happy with them, but to be honest with you, they're going to be inside the bonnet, and the bonnet's not going to be open most of the time anyway, so they won't be on show per se. Then it was a case of just putting the front chassis together with the suspension. All went together quite nice and easily, and then you've got until we get to the steering arm. Now the steering arm, excuse me, I need a drink now. The steering arm fitting quite well, no problems there. But when it came to the just the connector between the steering arm and the steering wheel, and the other part of the chassis as well, there was only one in the packet, as you can see from the picture. I don't know if there's meant to be two. The instructions show you that there should be two, as you can see, but there wasn't, so I had to make my own. Now I made it out of basically I took one of our customizable sanding sheets, because it's got a 1/2 mil foam on it, 1/2 mil styrene backed. So I took 2 bits of that, shaped it roughly. It didn't have to be perfect because it was quite a loose fit anyway. The metal part that came with the kit was a loose fit anyway. So I popped that on, and it worked perfectly fine. Did the job. I think with just luckily I did this because if I was going to just put it together with the one bit of metal that it showed for the steering wheel. But unfortunately, when I put it all together, which you'll see later, here's a little video of it working. It did work. With only the one, there wouldn't have been enough tension there or assist, with the turn of the steering wheel to turn the actual wheels themselves. So it's good that we did that. I don't know, there's meant to be 2 in the kit by the looks of it, but there wasn't. There was only 1 in the packet. Couldn't find one anywhere else. Searched high and low for it. Couldn't find one anywhere. So you bear that in mind. If you're going to build this, you'll probably need to do another one of those. Don't stick with the one if you're going to move the steering wheel, because it's just not enough. From what I could tell anyway, there was too much torque there. So there you go. So we put that together, and all that bit of chassis went together and everything. And then the front wheel hubs, one of them was bent probably at about a 22-degree angle further than it should be, so I had to bend that back with a pair of pliers very carefully, because it's white metal, so it is prone to snap very easily. We got that back very gently, took my time with that as well, so got that back straight, and then put everything together. Now the only thing I will say about the front hubs and everything is a ridiculous amount of tension on those springs, on the suspension springs. Why they've done it so, I mean, literally this thing is busting on here. These arms are, you know, under full tension, and there's no need for it. There's no need for that. You know, it's a model, but it just puts stress on all the bits that really doesn't need any stress on at all. It's not actually going to be going over bumps and things like that. So I don't understand their thinking on that. It really didn't need it, and it was a lot of hard work getting the tension of the spring, because you have to push it right back to get these hubs on and get the screws in as well. The screws don't sit level in there, they don't sit flush. The metal is all at a very slight angle, so you haven't got anything that goes straight. So it's not very well thought out or engineered, to be honest with you, if you ask me. So a little bit disappointing there. Anyway, once we got over that, that was all the problems that I found. You know, quite a few, apart from obviously the odd screws not working properly, where they don't fit properly and things like that. You have to be very careful you don't over tighten the screws on this, because if you do, they just end up turning. I did turn one screw in the whole process, which I don't think was too bad, because there's a lot of screws in there. As you can see, I've got cups, labelled cups with all the screws in, which is what I use to keep track of the screws I've got. There are a lot more some than others. Anyway, so we put the front and the rears together, and this is what we have now. This is where we are. So as you can see, have a look underneath. It is a big bit of chunk of metal. It's going to be enormous. It's quite impressive when it goes together. You know, you can have a look at the overhead on the underside here, as you can see. It does look very nice indeed. The moulding's very soft and everything, though. It's not clean and crisp. And there's the front there. Whoops, there you go. Okay, so you can see the looms and everything, and under the front there you can see where the battery box is. I've got to put another bit of decal solution on there just to get that down a bit more, to conform a bit more. And on the rear, as you can see, it does look good. The hubs, as you can see, is white metal, all under severe tension. They all are, front and rears. I think the fronts are under worse than the rears. The way the wishbones fit together and everything, not particularly great, I have to say. I wasn't particularly impressed with it at all, to be honest with you. There's very tight fittings. You know, in some places you could actually do with two people, you know, another set of hands. So where we are at the moment, it all went together on the instruction manual. Go to the overhead here, it might white out, I don't know. On the instruction manual, we are here. Okay, that's where we are. So front and rear chassis on, sorry, this one here. Front and rear chassis on, all ready to go. And the next, let's just zoom this out a bit for you. And as you can see on the next one, we're looking at starting with the glass, the windscreen, the side windows, wing mirrors, you know, windscreen wipers, and then onto the front bumper and rear hood. And then it's a lot of the glass and things like that. What I've done is I've gone through I've gone through the instruction manual, and I'm not going to do it the way that they suggest. I think I've managed to work out, I don't want to put the windscreen in straight away. I really don't. I want to polish it. I can put it in, it's got a film over it, and I want to polish it and then put it in. And I'm just going to try and work out if I can put it in last, along with all the other exterior glass parts, or the cabin glass anyway, the door windows, the side windows, and the windscreen. The rear windscreen's already in, there was no way I could get around that. All the rest is just like lights and, you know, light clusters, headlights, things like that. But that rear engine lid, which is see-through again, the windscreen, the doors, now I'm going to see if I can put those on last. I really do want to give them a compound clean before I put them on, because they look okay, but to be honest with you, they're not £500 okay. And so that's where we are at the moment. My summary so far, what do I think so far? I think it's the same as the last video, really. If you're paying, I think it's 460 is RRP on these, 460, 500, somewhere around there, I would be severely pissed right now with this kit if I'd have paid that much money. To be honest with you, I started building this so I could build it as is, out of the box, so that any normal person could come along and say, right, okay, can I build it or can I not? You do need some modelling skills to complete this. There's a lot of gluing as well. I thought it was just a bolt together kit, not a lot of gluing, but there's quite a bit of gluing with the engine pieces and things like that. Some gluing of silly pieces which are going to be under strain, and you think, really, it doesn't, that could have been one piece, it didn't have to be glued at all. So you know, you don't know what their thinking is there. I don't think it was put together by a modeller. I honestly don't. It doesn't go together intuitively at all. I don't know. The thing is, my feelings are, I love the kit and I hate the kit. I hate paying the money for it. I got it for only for £180, so I've been extremely lucky for what I got it for, because I got it on a flash sale on Jetdown Racing, I think it was, about a year and a half ago. Obviously trying to get rid of the stock. And now I know they cost more than that trade as well, because we looked into stocking these on UMP, but nah. Not after building one, which has been a good process, really. I know you can get screw sets that actually fit properly on eBay. I would suggest you do that. Where I am at the moment, I am going to get another one when I finish this, either the motorbike or another Lamborghini, if I can get one cheap in a sale, and I will do that properly as a model from start to finish. I will respray everything with the engines, the cockpit, everything, except for the body. I like the paint on the body. The paint on the body is actually quite good. So I will get another one in the future. I think I'll probably end up getting the motorbike. I think that looks really cool. But as it stands at the moment, yep, I'm pissed. I'd be pissed if I paid full price for this. At 180, it's probably worth it actually. 200 quid, probably worth it as a kit. Probably a little bit more because it is a big die cast kit. And you know, I think you could build this quite quickly. If you wanted, knuckled down and got on with it, you could probably do this in a couple of days if you really wanted to. It's not that involved, but it does need a few skills. You have to use common sense in a few places as well. You can't just go ahead and follow the instructions. There are a few changes there. To be honest with you, the instructions are quite crap. They don't explain the order that you have to put things in. Not very well anyway. They're not clear. And you think, you could look at Wing Up Wings instruction manuals, Tan Models instruction manuals. They're only 40-50 quid kits, and they've got instruction manuals to die for. And they're very clear, clean, concise, and you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing with them. With this, I mean, this is a £500 kit, and they give you a black and white piece of crap. There's no other thing else in the box. Nothing like a little plaque or anything like that. There is a plaque, but it goes on the car, and then there's one for if you get a display case, which is another 250 quid, which is ridiculous. So yeah, it's I can't see why it costs so much money. I have to say, it is nice once it's built up. It's going to be nice to have. Don't get me wrong. I've got a 1/8 bloody Lamborghini. It's going to be this yay big. You know, it's what, 3/4 of a metre big once it's done. You know, yes, easy 750 centimetres, I think. So it's going to be nice when it's done. But if I were to do it again, it needs to be done as a model rather than as like a screw together kit and things like that. Anyway, so hopefully that's a quicker bite-sized one than the last one. I don't know how this ran. I think it's around 15-20 minutes, something like that. So it's not too bad. I think I'll probably try and I'm away for the next couple of weeks, but when I get back, I'm going to try and get another one done with regards to obviously putting the front and the rear ends together, and maybe do a quick one of cleaning the glass as well. So it's yeah, so we'll see about that, but hopefully in the next month or so we'll get another update done as well. So that is it. That is where we are now. That's the third video, I believe. So the fourth one will hopefully be the front and the rear ends, and then maybe the fifth one we'll do one as of the glass and things like that, and getting that ready because I'm not happy with the way the glass is at the moment. But it's funny. I've got this. You've seen the enormous box. It's now down to whittled it right down now. All the sprues have disappeared. There's not many left, just bags of glass and things like that. So it's gone from this massive pile of plastic down to a little bit, and there's still got a lot to go as well. So that's it. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.